Well, hello and welcome to episode 28 of Tui Snider's Show and Tell. This is a streaming show where I interview a really wide variety of experts about everything from cemetery symbols, historic cemeteries, forgotten history, folklore, the paranormal, quirky travel sites, UFOs, basically all the offbeat and overlooked people, places, and things that tickle my fancy. And as I always say, I have a very ticklish fancy. Now, in case you're new here, I'm Tui Snider. I write books, I give talks, and I do a lot of research. Today's guest, as you can probably see in the little banner up there, is going to be David Kravetz. Now, he's coming up real soon, but first I want to say hi and see who's here. And I have just a couple little things to talk about. Let me say hi. Well, first off, this is the first show I've done in a while. I only did a couple in August because I've been on the road. I think if I do this, maybe I can make it a little bigger. I hit the big, beautiful road myself for a couple of weeks with my husband. We had a great time. Oh yeah, let's see if Ken's here. Hey, Ken. Hi, howdy over in Colorado. And we have Francisca from the Netherlands. Hi, Francisca. So glad you could make it, you guys. I think you folks will enjoy, yeah, howdy, as we say here in Texas quite often. I think you guys are really going to enjoy David. Some of you might have seen him last time he was on. He was one of my very first guests back in January. And I know some of you are probably noticing that I keep changing the name of this show. Hey, we got Wade here. Howdy, Wade. I'm trying to wave, but my hand's off screen. Wade, here, I'll wave. Nice to see you. I know you're a big traveler. I think you're going to love David because I don't know if you saw him before. He was, as I was saying, he was one of my first guests on this show. And back then in January, I was calling it Tombstone Tuesdays. And then I changed it to Offbeat and Overlooked. But then people kept asking me, what is Offbeat and Overlooked? And then I'd say, well, it's basically show and tell for adults. So I thought, you know what? Let's just call it Tui Snider's Show and Tell. I still can do the cemeteries. But I can also do some other fun things. I'm just going to show you a couple little photos from our trip before we bring him on. We did a lot of, quirky roadside things. Like here I am. I got to ride a bison. Big cut out two-dimensional bison. Cuddle up to the world's largest jackrabbit. Singing a great big oversized things. It seems to be a theme. A lot of roadside attractions are oversized, and that just makes them fun. We went down into Carlsbad Caves, but we also walked around a beautiful nature walk around there. I saw like all sorts of great critters, frogs and things. I went swimming in San Solomon Springs and I was snorkeling. And yes, I have a hat on while I snorkel because, it's me. I have to wear a hat, right? But there was all sorts of turtles and fish. It was really fun to go snorkeling there. Here's another great big oversized thing. That was actually a slide. Like you could climb in the eyeball and slide out the front. But it was like 100 degrees, so I didn't feel like burning myself. Of course, we saw some cemeteries, Phantom Hill. Here's another. That cypress tree was one. See that there? That cypress tree helped us find the cemetery. That's my big tip to people because these country cemeteries can be hard to find. And when you suddenly see a cypress tree, you can be like, aha, I'm nearby. I came across the grave of a 33-degree, the highest degree of Mason you could be in just a way out in the middle of the desert. That was a fun one. I saw this really cool cemetery gate where people who live near the cemetery got tired of people walking through their yards. So they made this is a little sidewalk. It was a bit overgrown, so I had a stick. There were a lot of rattlesnakes down there. And that was, I'll be talking about that more. I just want to give you guys a little teaser taste of some of the things that I saw on our trip. And then, of course, when I got home, my cat she had a lot to say. There had been some thunderstorms. She meowed at me pretty heartily for like an hour. Finally, I gave her a can of tuna, and that kind of calmed her down. Along the way, I picked up quite a few postcards, which I've been writing and mailing to people on who support me on Patreon at the postcard level. So if you're interested in that, and also on Patreon, I'm sharing a new chapter each week about my road trip where I shared a lot of photos on Facebook as I went along, but people asked me a lot of questions, even in my DMs, and they were like, "Hey, are you going to blog about this later? Can you tell us more about this or that place?" And so I just thought, you know what, I'm gonna make it like a serial on my on my Patreon. So every Wednesday now, I'm releasing a new chapter. So for as little as $1 a month, you can read those chapters. And I also do make at least one of the chapters just free to the public every month. So you could just go check it out there and follow me for free. You don't even have to pay to check me out on Facebook, not Facebook, Patreon. Who all do we have here? I'm seeing a lot more people popping in. Yay, we got Debbie. Hi, Debbie. She's saying hi to Wade. I'm clicking on. I'm out of practice with this whole thing here now. Hey, Nicole. Oh, I like it. You guys are all saying hi to each other. Yeah, I think I might be missing some people, but the McIntyres and everybody. Thanks, everybody. Nice to see y'all here. Okay. So while I'm talking about Patreon, each week I have an imaginary advertisement that's my supporter for the show. And this one, it's just so bizarre. In the 1800s, they made these kind of artificial horses for people. It was their version of maybe a treadmill or whatever sort of things people have now. Seems like usually most exercise equipment is really just there to hang clothing on. But anyway, yeah, I love how there's a man and woman version. Like the lady is riding side saddle and he's sitting astride his little horse there. Horse exercise at home, vigorous horse action saddle. Isn't this just the craziest thing? I love it when I am researching something and I just get so sidetracked by the ads. But wow, people apparently actually wrote these. I like how it says in the article that came with us too, they were talking a little more about it and they said it really helps deal with a stagnant liver, which is not something we worry about too much. Now, of course, the real Patreon, the real supporters of this show are my Patreons, and they are Pete, Envy, Julie, Ghost Cat, Bob, Connie, Eva, Ian, Sarah, Mikhail, Naomi, Margaret, Hugh, Anne, Jessica, Jay, Rachel, Angel, Ken, Patty, Veronica, Joe, Donna, and the other Tui, who's no relation to me. We just share a strange name. Thanks, you guys, for helping me out. It's really great. Okay, so I don't know why I have that there. Don't need to have that there. This week's special guest is David C. Kravetz. And I know that some of you will remember him. He was on the show back in January. Oh, I see. Yeah, Francis, she's talking about the horse, the adult version of a child. So it really does seem like that. I guess it can't be bad for you. I wonder when those things went out of fashion or how hot they ever were. It's just the funniest thing. Oh, yes. Hey, everyone. The name is Tui Snider Show and Tell now. Whoop, whoop. Yes. Don't you think? I think this was a group. We all came together with that name. We came up with that together. Thanks, you guys. I think it fits the show better than anything I bumbled along for. I should have you guys help me with all my branding decisions. I do appreciate it. Our kindergarten teacher. Yes, that's me. I am the kindergarten teacher for you guys. I love it. It's so fun. All right. So you might remember David was back on the show in January, and I had him on to talk about quirky cemeteries that he had seen, because this guy burns up the roads. You think I travel a lot? Wow. David really is out there. He's seen so many things, and he has a really great eye for the quirky, obscure, interesting items. I just think it's great. He is a freelance travelographer, and he focuses on the normal, the wacky, the wonderful, and the quirky things of this wide world. He has a very popular travel blog. It's called Less Beaten Paths, and there are over 400 posts there, or close to it, about offbeat and backroads travel. David has thousands of friends and followers around the world, and they know him by the nickname Sumo Flam. He has a passion for traveling, as I've mentioned. He's been to all 50 states. He's been to 5 provinces in Canada, numerous states in Mexico. He's been to the Philippines, China, and Korea. Very well traveled. And not only that, but David lived in Japan for 6 years, and he is fluent in Japanese. And I admire that about him so much. Now, on a personal note, I should add that David is the father of 5 kids, and he has 10 grandchildren who call him Gramps, which I like. He just celebrated his 42nd wedding anniversary with his sweetheart in July of this year. And I like how he adds this on his bio. He says he will always admit that he truly married up. So without further ado, I'm going to bring him on. Today we are going to be talking about his book. I'll bring up his book so you can take a peek at it. Let me add him in here. Hey there, David. How are you today?
I'm fine. Hello, world.
Yes, hello, world. Well, it is great to have you back. I really appreciate you being on the show.
It's great to be back. And by the way, you said the cemetery book of the week. There are 5 or 6 little cemetery photos in this current book. So
okay.
We snuck them in just for your benefit.
I do appreciate that. And I do have my copy of David's book here. It's really wonderful, guys. And it's got all these great color photos. And he sent me a whole bunch of photos. And so I just put them in no particular order. I just figured we're going to have a casual conversation. And you folks, I will try and keep a good eye on the comments over here. Oh, one thing I want to tell you before I forget. Now, whether you're watching live or you are watching the replay, you have until next Wednesday to win a book. David is going to send 2 of you guys, I keep gesturing over more and I'm going to see 2 of you guys, a copy of his book. Now, the way to enter and perhaps get one of his books is to leave a comment, not in the chat section, but an actual comment on this video about something about your favorite road trip. Just make a comment about it. It doesn't, or even your least favorite road trip, just something road trip oriented. Leave a comment, and you have until next Wednesday, because I thought people who watch the replay should get a chance too. And then we will pick a winner, and David will send 2 of you a book. He is limiting it to the United States, unfortunately, because of the high price of sending books. So there you are. So, all right. So, David, I've got to ask you about this new book. This is going to be the focus of our conversation. And just can you tell us a little bit how the genesis of this idea, like how this road trip came about?
Well, the road trip came about because I had a grandson out in Washington that was having a special event in his life, and I wanted to go out there and see him, and so we did. And my daughter, Marissa, and her 3 children wanted to go with us. They hadn't seen their cousins for a couple of years, and because they're homeschooled, they could travel with us. And so the special event went on in January of 2020. Or actually it was February 1st. So we drove cross country in the winter time. And as far as, what we did is we knew we were going to be traveling for a while. So we planned out a route to go up there and a route to go back. And we planned out on the route up there, planned alternate routes in case of snowstorms and ice storms or whatever we'd run across. So that's kind of how we started that. In terms of the title of the book, that didn't come to me until I was on the way home. I have a habit every road trip I take of start checking my odometer reading in the morning before I leave. And I write it down in a logbook right here, see? This is my little logbook, and
let me bring it up so we can see it a little better.
You can see here, my little stickers came out, but you can see my little logbook, and I keep the the numbers in there. I put down the gasoline, and
okay.
I'm just one of these little weird stats guys. One of my little stickers. California 1.
Yeah.
But So anyways, that was kind of how that we did that. And I just, on the way back, I started thinking, I'll know exactly how many miles I drove when I pull into the driveway because I know exactly what it was when I left.
Yeah.
And then I can just chapterize based upon each day and how many miles we drove because I kept track of every day.
Mm-hmm.
And so I decided, instead of some funky title, I'll give it a uber funky title and just put a number there.
Yeah.
And people are going to look at it and what does that number mean? Of course, in the introduction to the book, I tell them what the number means. But on that whole trip for almost 3 weeks, we traveled 8,154 miles.
So do you consider the title 8,154 or 8154 or however?
8154, but when you're talking,
kind of easier to roll off.
I don't really say 8154 miles. So,
no, that's true.
but the mileage was 8154.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's neat. I wonder if a numerology would have something about that. I don't know. I'm not into that. I don't really know much about it.
Well, if you take 8 and 1 and add them, that's 9, and 5 and 4 and add them, that's 9.
Oh, well, all right. Now, one thing about your road trip when I think that was a little different this time is that it was not a solo journey, or you had quite the carload. You had, your grown daughter and then 3 kids. How was this different for you?
Well, I've traveled with kids many times.
Oh, okay then.
I'm used to traveling with kids. My first real road trip, if you will, was back in the big road trip with family was back in 1992 when we had just gotten back from Japan. Oh. And I got hired to work in Kentucky. We were living in Arizona. And so we drove cross country from Arizona to Kentucky. And we took back roads. And I used at the time Roadside America's book.
Oh, wow.
Because there was no website back then.
They were around? Roadside America was around back then?
Roadside America, it was actually the second edition of their book.
Oh.
This month, actually, Roadside America is celebrating their 25th anniversary of their internet presence.
Wow.
So there's my shout out to website. Roadside America and Doug Kirby, my good friend Doug, out there in California, who's one of the guys that runs the site. And
I love Roadside America.
Well, it's a great website, and I give them a shout out every time I can. And they actually have a wonderful app for your phone that actually has tracking on where you're at. So you can push it where you're at, and it'll give you the closest, unique, quirky, fun, offbeat roadside places that you can visit nearby. And so there's that little punch. But we used Roadside America's book to travel across the country, and we hit, for instance, Little House on the Prairie in Kansas. And just a number of unique little places. And so that was the first one, and I've done numerous ones since. So traveling with children is not a big deal for me, but it is for a lot of other people. But traveling for 3 weeks with 3 young children can turn into a challenge because they get tired, they get cranky, they want to get out and stretch. And so on this trip, I planned it so that I could actually deal with the children better. So, I'm always flexible on my trips. And so if they needed to stop, we stopped. And
I like that you're very flexible. I think you were saying in the book there was only a couple hotels that you booked ahead of time. And that's because you had speaking engagements and things, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, that is interesting. I know we had to plan, kind of have on our recent trip, we had to have our hotels in advance for a couple places because of COVID now, like to go into swim in that cool springs that I was swimming in or visit Carlsbad Cave. You have to have reservations now. You can't just be like, I think we'll just swing by Carlsbad Caves. You have to, and there's a limited amount. So it was a little different that way. Not quite as spontaneous all the time as I like, but still fun. But anyway, here I should get in. You sent me so many cool photos. I should just dig in so you can tell us about some of them. I like this, like Grants, New Mexico.
Yeah, Grants is on Route 66, and Grants and Gallup are really the big places in New Mexico to go because they've got all the great neon signs. You can go to Moriarty as well, but Grants is really great. And but I like Grants because you can drive under this little sign there and do a photo op with it with your car. And
you get your car in the photo op. I had never thought of that.
You can actually run like an Amazon truck through it. It's so tall.
It looks big. Yeah,
and it's a fun little thing. It's a fun little detour to go.
And then I guess this is along the way on Route 66.
Oh yeah, you got to go to Uranus Fudge Factory.
For sure.
They're very well known for packing their fudge tightly.
Yes. And they carry your books.
And they sell all of my books. As a matter of fact, they just ordered a whole new set of them.
Wow.
Mayor Louis Keene, the mayor of Uranus, is a quirky, fun character as well, and he's just expanded a number of things over there. This is in Missouri on Interstate 44, actually old Route 66, near St. Robert, Missouri, and this is really a fun location. They carry all sorts of goodies. They've got aliens and dinosaurs, and he recently got a huge one of those, the big muffler men that he had repainted to look like him as the mayor because he wears this fun outfit as a mayor. And Louis has got all sorts of fun things. You should go to their website and get on their mail list so you can see.
I think I will.
All the little emails that he sends, like the email I got a couple days ago is something's whirling in Uranus. He takes a lot.
I guess he does. Oh yeah, someone's talking about it too. Debbie up in Canada, they have a big statue of the mayor. Yeah, wow, that's so neat.
And he's actually in the process of opening up a second Uranus.
Oh.
But I'm not at liberty to say where it's going to be yet because he's not announced it. But he's working on a second one because this first one has become so popular. But they do really make the best fudge around.
Well, I will have to go try it sometimes. Yeah, I think that's great. Of course, you had to see these guys somewhere. Was this on Route 66 too?
No. This is down in this is in the Redwood Forest actually.
Oh.
I've been to a number of Paul Bunyan sites, and this one we just happened to pass by. It wasn't even on my schedule.
Oh, I love that.
Believe it or not, we took a detour and we went right by it, and of course I stopped and we took pictures of all that. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Now, did you stay in an actual wigwam here, or?
We did not here in Holbrook. This one's in Holbrook. There's only 3 wigwam villages left in the United States. 2 of them are on Route 66. The other one, ironically, is here in Kentucky at Cave City near Mammoth Cave.
Oh.
And about 4 years ago, we had a large family reunion. All of my grandchildren and all of my children, everybody were here, and I rented 5 of those units.
Oh, that's what I was thinking of. I knew you stayed in one. I thought sometime. I didn't realize. Okay.
It was not as comfortable as a lot of places, but the key was, it was a novelty, and none of my kids are ever the grandkids especially, won't forget.
Exactly.
They stayed in a wigwam, and we have pictures, and it's just a unique thing, a throwback to the past. But Holbrook, you can rent them out in Holbrook as well, and the other one's near Bakersfield.
Oh, all right. This is a really nice photo too. Something about, these cars,
those are all the old cars. Yeah, they've got all these old cars there, and Holbrook's got the old cars. The one in Kentucky only has one old car.
Oh, yeah, that really adds. I'm not I don't know much about cars, but that just adds to the whole feel, the whole retro feel of it. I like that.
Yeah,
that's really neat. Then we have here, I like the name. You're really good at finding places with, you have a whole book about it. We can talk about it later about places with strange names. You were so good about that, but like Devil's Elbow.
Yes, I'm always, I have a goal when I take a road trip. My goal is to find at least one unique named town or community along the way. Devil's Elbow is actually just about a 10-minute drive from Uranus.
Oh.
And it's named Devil's Elbow because there's a large curve in the river there that they called the Devil's Elbow because people could get lost in the curve.
Yes.
But this is actually quite a popular Route 66 stop for people. Number one, because of the name, and number two, because of the bridge that goes over the river. The motorcyclists love the place.
Oh, wow. Oh, well, that's really neat. Okay, and what do I have here? Oh, just a beautiful photo. Where are you?
This was taken from Interstate 90 as we crossed from Montana into Idaho.
Oh.
The snow was about 6 feet deep on the side of the road.
Ooh.
And I couldn't resist getting a picture of the beautiful snow-covered mountains while we were driving down. This is from the Lookout Pass that's right there at the literally at the state line, and you're up at the top. And we had just crossed into Idaho, and we're heading down into Idaho to get into Wallace, Idaho.
Wow.
And the scenery was just phenomenal. I love Montana and Idaho and the mountains, so this one was special.
I love those moments when you are on a road trip and maybe everyone's just fallen silent in the car, and it just, maybe y'all had to get up early, or you know what I mean? It's just when the beauty of the passing landscape just, wow, it just strikes you. That's really a gorgeous shot. Do you, now, when you plan a trip, is that part of the fun for you? Because I enjoy planning. I just don't, I know not everybody does.
Yes and no. It's fun for me because I basically look at where I'm going, and to me the destination is the journey.
Definitely.
Okay, seriously, the destination is the journey. And so I may plan a trip and deviate from that plan just because of something. It might be weather, or it might be, there's this other place that I didn't know existed, and we'll just deviate and go. But yes, I look at where my ultimate destination is going to be. In this case, it was Port Orchard, Washington. And so I planned out approximately the direction we're going to go, what states we're going to pass through, what roads we're approximately going to take. And then in this case, because it was with winter time, I had to plan alternate routes just in case. And so, yes,
you had a lot of weather. A winter trip, you definitely have different considerations, huh? But go ahead.
But I literally, when I'm planning it, I'm also looking for unique named towns. I'm looking for offbeat sites. I'm trying to collect photos of every single whispering giant. These are these large wooden Indian statues that are made all over. There's one in every state. And then Peter Toth, the artist who lives in Florida, has made them. There's actually 74 of them. And my goal, I've gotten to 25 of them. So when I'm traveling and I know I'm going to get close, I'll reroute my route so that I can get a picture with one of those. And I got 2 of them on this trip. I
think it's fun to have a theme or collecting things like that. You're not just collecting souvenirs, but you're looking for specific things, Well,
if you go to my website, you'll notice that one of the links on there is the collector of places.
Oh, I like that.
And that's what, I'm a collector of places. Okay, and this is,
you are.
I mentioned the place in Idaho, Wallace, Idaho, a minute ago. Well, Wallace, Idaho, this is in the middle of the center of the biggest intersection in town, and this is what they call the center of the universe marker.
Really?
Yeah, Wallace has decided that you got all these places, center of the United States or whatever. They've determined that they are the center of the universe.
Oh, that's hilarious! I love that. Oh, wow, I wondered what that was. I actually frequently take pictures of both cobblestones and manhole covers. I really am kind of fascinated by streets and roadways. I mean, much to my husband's chagrin, he's constantly yanking me out of intersections because he'll be like, "Oh, neat." He's like, "Why are you stopping? There's cars." But
See,
yeah,
if you look at the picture carefully, you can see where it
yeah.
says the center of the universe around the top of that star,
Oh,
and
yeah,
then
yeah.
it has
Center of the
Wallace
universe.
underneath it.
It does. Wow, that is really neat. I like that. Well, go Wallace. There's some a little bit of attitude there. Now I noticed that, also I know this about you. I know that like one of the fun things about going on a road trip is when you stop at these different towns is looking for weird things to eat or different things that I don't know, unusual things. So like here, I thought these were pretty funny. These donuts.
Yeah, I've got a friend in Campbell, California, and he knows that I'm into these kinds of things. I think I've been to 5 Voodoo Donuts.
Oh,
They started in Portland, Oregon, but now they've got them in Austin and in
yeah.
Denver, and they make strange, unique donuts. And then, of course, in Texas, down where you live, down there, they've got
Oh,
Hertz
Hertz
Donuts.
donut. I have not been there, and I heard about it from you. It's still on my list.
Go to Frisco; it's close to where you live, and
Okay.
they've got one in Frisco. But Hertz Donuts, and they've got themes. Well, this one here was called Psycho Donuts. They've only got 2 shops in California, but we happened to be traveling during Valentine's Day weekend, and so they made anti-Valentine's Day
That's hilarious. I
donut.
like that. How funny. How funny. And I just saw that Nicole says she gets car sick. I get car sick too, so I have to be really careful, like looking at texts or anything on
Yeah.
my phone. Yeah, it's no fun. So I'm super careful.
Watch straight forward or watch way out
Mhm.
in the distance, but don't look
Sit
at
up
the close and don't
front.
read a book.
Yeah, it's weird. I can read a book on a bus, like a Greyhound bus, but in a car, I don't know. I get nauseated. No, not fun feeling nauseated. Anyway. But I heard too that the Dramamine, or however you say that, that anti-nausea stuff, from someone who gets really sick on boats, they said that the new version of it is so good. So maybe that would help you, Nicole. I don't know.
Dramamine's good. I used to take it a lot, but I drive everywhere.
Yeah, so you're fine.
I don't ride. I drive.
Yeah, I ride. I ride. All right. Well, let's see. Oh, Hertz Donut. Oh, there's a Hertz Donut in Wisconsin too. Oh, I didn't know that. I guess they get around. Okay. Well, now another interesting moose drool.
Yeah, I threw this one at you because it's an interesting one. I don't drink alcohol, okay?
Yeah.
But moose drool is one of the most unusual names I've seen, and I first came across it my first road trip out in Montana when my daughter was living in Shelby.
Mhm.
And I love the name so much that this time around, I had a friend that lives here in Lexington that was he likes to drink beer. And so we had an ice chest with us, and we stopped at the brewery in Missoula, Montana, Big Sky Brewery.
Uh-huh.
And I picked up a 6-pack of moose drool and a moose drool poster, because they sell posters there.
Uh-huh.
And I stuck the beer in the ice chest and tried to keep it iced up, and brought him back a souvenir all the way from Montana. It took another 2 weeks for that to sit in that ice chest before we got back.
Well, that was very sweet of you.
The beer was long gone, but he kept one bottle and he kept the poster.
Aw, that is very thoughtful. And we have Francisca saying that she thinks that traveling by car or motor is the best way to travel and experience the country off the beaten track. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think
Totally.
so too. The pace and everything. I like trains too, but the car offers you that freedom of like, I just want to go explore this now. I just want to do that. Oh, she would like to taste it. Curious about the taste. I know it's like it's funny name because any kind of drool doesn't sound very appetizing, and yet it's a great name because it does make you wonder.
Well, they actually have other interesting product names, but moose drool is the best in my
Yeah,
opinion.
moose drool. It's kind of fun to say too. Moose drool. Yeah.
Look up Big Sky Brewery online. Now I know that there are places in the United States you can get this.
Mhm.
And you can also special order it directly from them, and they can ship it to you domestically. They can't ship it overseas, unfortunately.
Yeah, my big thing is I'm always looking for different coffee drinks when I'm on the road because I have a nice espresso machine at home. But when we do a road trip, I'll always look for some weird canned coffee, and I found this one that was like Bob Marley brand coffee once in New Mexico, and it was actually really good. They're usually terrible. I mean, I don't know why, but I try them all on this quest. It's just good to have quests when you're on the road.
Oh, yeah, it's always fun to find something.
I was curious too. Speaking of weird drinks again, Martian poop soda. Where did you see that?
Yeah, do we have a theme going on here? Uranus poop?
Yeah, we do. It's a little scatological today.
We came across this in Nipton, California.
Oh.
Nipton is right on the border of Nevada and California, back in the midst of the Joshua trees. And it's actually not made there. There's a company that makes this, and they have a number of different flavors. They actually make a maple bacon soda as well.
Wow, that sounds like a Texan-y thing.
But I wanted to include the Martian poop because it just was too funny. The grandkids tried it and they didn't like it. It was kind of a berry flavor, but I think
out of this world.
I have a bottle. I have a full unopened bottle of it sitting up here on my shelf.
Oh, yeah.
I collect bottles.
Oh, okay.
when I run across them. For instance, I got this one. You can't tell, but it was on.
I know it's hard on StreamYard. It goes opposite of like Route 66. What is it? Oh,
this is Route 66 beer. Root beer.
Oh, I
like
it.
I picked that up in Missouri where it's made.
Oh, okay. Well,
and there's another one I picked up in Texas on a trip.
This is good to know. Now I know when I'm traveling, something I get for you.
Dang.
That's a good name.
Dang root beer.
So you take a sip and go, dang. Yeah, I can imagine that.
So I kind of have a little collection of those things. So.
Oh, there's a Doc Holliday soda. I've never been to Tombstone. I really want to go there sometime.
Yeah, I hear it's a place to die for.
We have someone just came in here. He said, Bill V. Snapshots. Road trips are the only way to go. They really are great.
Yep.
I thought I missed a few more comments. I'm teasing you, Nicole. W. Just teasing you. I have no. What's this now? Worse when you're little. I remember doing 400 miles in the car. My dad had to stop at the bottom of the hill so I could be sick. Oh my gosh. When we would go to see my grandma up in Ohio from Virginia, we had to go on the West Virginia Turnpike, which is switchback. And I was, being the youngest, had to sit in between my sister and brother, very territorial in the back seat. We would stop. It would be like, it was a good time if I only barfed 10 times, I remember, all the way. And then after we get off the turnpike, we'd go to Charleston. And when I was a kid, there was a big billboard that said, "Welcome to Charleston, the chemical capital of the world." And it smelled so terrible, I'd usually barf again. So yeah, I hear you. I feel you, Nicole. Not fun, not good. But I still love road trips, aside from that. All right. And what else do we have here? This looks so neat. Tell us all about this.
Okay, this is in Port Orchard, and it's called the Hobbit House. There's actually a garden shop there, a greenhouse. They sell flowers and plants and things like that. But they built this Hobbit House back in the back of their thing as kind of a tourist draw, and they tried to do it as close to spec as they could. So it's I didn't get to go visit it while I was there, but my grandkids and my daughter went while I was busy on another little project. But it's quite a popular attraction in Port Orchard. So if you ever get to Port Orchard, Washington, you should go there. And obviously it's built to spec for a Hobbit. I don't think they serve third breakfast there.
Did they let you go inside the Hobbit House?
Yes, they do.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Yeah. A couple of years ago, I got to visit the Hobbiton Village down in New Zealand, and it's amazing. They have 15 gardeners year round, and it's so cute. They have but they have it's where they filmed the Hobbit, the Lord of the Rings. But the thing is, it's interesting. They have different scaled houses. So if they want to make you look like a big person, then they have a really tiny Hobbit house. And then if you're meant to be Gandalf or somebody, you're meant to be a Hobbit, then they have a larger one for you to come in and out of. It was really interesting to see, but very fun. Oh, in the UK, there are several Hobbit houses. Interesting. Someone says they don't like tourist traps. You know, I do and I don't. I love them when they're super cheesy and I really want to go to them, but I don't like going to places where I feel like they've gouged me. How do you feel about that? I mean, about tourist traps.
Well, I think that I use the word tourist trap more as a nice term.
Mm-hmm.
I like to visit tourist traps. Obviously, Uranus is a tourist trap.
Yeah, yeah.
The tourist trap, but it's a tourist trap because when you walk in, there's so many fun things. You're trapped in there for a long time. And the whole idea is they'd like you to spend some money in there.
Mm-hmm.
The thing in Arizona is the same way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They have a thing that you can go back and see, and you have to pay to go see the thing.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not going to tell you what the thing is.
Yeah.
But they have a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Wall Drug up in South Dakota, that's the ultimate big giant tourist trap. And of course, you go get a picture with a big 80-foot tall dinosaur over there. But the thing is they have places to eat, they have food, they have fudge, candy, drinks. You can drive for miles and miles from Minnesota and see signs that say Wall Drug 380 miles, free ice or free ice water or 5 cents for coffee. You could drive down I-10, which you just did. You probably saw signs for the thing.
No, we didn't. Not the way we went. We didn't. I was surprised we didn't make it up that far. We took some back roads. We wanted to see the Odessa meteor crater, and so then we went up to Carlsbad, and then we came down very back roady.
If you go down I-10 from Las Cruces, New Mexico, all the way to almost Tucson, you'll probably see 150 signs that say the thing.
When we would go from Virginia to New Mexico to visit my grandma, a different one. It was a longer trip, but I wasn't barfing the whole way because it was more straight. Anyway, I would see the thing, and we never did stop to see the thing. That's one of those ones I will have to just go sometime. Now, Bill says he found this YouTube site because he was just searching for David's books. Oh, isn't that wonderful? Yay! You will love his books. They're a lot of fun, just like Dave. And what do we see? Coming from Europe, traveling to the US, they send you to all the tourist traps. I hate these. I like to travel off the beaten track. Yeah, well, I think there's good tourist. This is like an interesting discussion because I think the word tourist trap there are things that are just crappy and there's no value to them. But then to me, there are some things that are sort of retro and they have that appeal and charm of like old time travel, and they are off the beaten path. And you could still call them a tourist trap. Go ahead.
In my third book, I actually have a whole section about quote unquote tourist traps in a couple of places like that, because they're destinations. And yes, roadside diners are great. I love roadside diners.
Yeah, I like mom and pop.
Wherever I can find a roadside diner or mom and pop shop to stop at, I do.
And it's a labor of love. I owned a restaurant for a while, a coffee house / restaurant. And I know, wow, if you're doing that, you're doing it. It's a labor of love. You're not getting rich. At least I wasn't. And the other restaurant owners I've known is you work hard and you're doing it because you really want to give a neat experience to people.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then Bill says Wall Drugs is a great stop just to take a break and walk around and see all the weird stuff. And yeah.
Exactly. And I've been to Wall Drug 5 times.
Oh, wow. I think I've been there once. It was a long time. All right. Let's see what else we got. Well, you have some nature photo. I just love I know you love birds. Where was this?
I don't see.
Sorry. You're supposed to it's like you're supposed to read my mind.
You can't tell where that is by looking at the background, huh?
No.
I'm not good at skylights. That's taken right near the Golden Gate Bridge.
Oh, okay.
Looking at San Francisco with a focus on a seagull.
Okay. Well, I haven't been to San Fran for ages. I'd probably flunk a city skyline test. I loved this photo too. This is so pretty. It just looks
now this one is an interesting. There's an interesting story behind this one. I don't know if anybody looking at this picture knows what these are. These are sandhill cranes. They stand about 4 feet tall. Wow. And on this trip, one of the goals I had, I knew that the sandhill cranes would be migrating north
Mhm.
in February and March. And so I went to Muleshoe, Texas,
Mhm.
where there's a large wildlife reserve, and hoped to be able to see them there. When we talked to the ranger said that they had some there, but that they had already left. So I was very bummed about it. And then
Yeah.
we were continuing east, and we were on this little back road going through a bunch of wind turbine areas.
Uh-huh.
And we were heading to Dimmitt, Texas. I don't know if you know where Dimmitt is,
No.
but we were heading to Dimmitt, Texas. And as I'm driving on the road, my daughter looks over and she says, "Are those geese or are those sandhill cranes?"
Oh,
And
wow.
from a distance, the sandhill cranes fly a little different than the geese do, but they
Mhm.
still fly in the V formation. But the key is you open your window and you listen,
Exactly.
and they make a sound that's unforgettable. It's a
Mhm.
type of
Oh.
sound. Well, there were thousands of them coming in our direction,
Mhm.
and I happened to have a big lens. I pulled over to the side of the road. I knew exactly what they were, and this is the second part of that story. Is I went down to go see them, hoping to see a few, and here I got to see thousands of them because they head north, and they all go to Kearney, Nebraska, where there's
Oh,
millions of them that gather in March for mating, and then they spread from there and go out and migrate. But
wow.
I took 400 pictures. It was about 20 degrees outside. It was very windy. You know what it's like on a cold winter day in Texas when it's windy and you don't have anything to block the wind because it's down in Dimmitt, it's just flat as can be.
Yeah.
But I got lots of good pictures of these, and I'd borrowed a friend's 500 millimeter lens, so I was able to get some good close ups. But this was a thrill to be able to see this many. And
Mhm.
we drove about 2 miles down the road as we continued, and we ran into a flock of about 10,000 snow geese
Yeah,
heading the
snow
same
geese, they have a
direction.
distinct sound as well.
Yep,
Uh-huh.
and it was beautiful. I mean, but they darken the sky. There's so many of them.
Oh my gosh, that
And
was
so we saw both of those
wonderful.
within 2 miles of each other.
Wow. That is, oh man, what a special memory. And yeah, I remember being, when I lived up in Washington State, being out in my yard doing something and just hearing the sound of geese and realizing, oh, that geese are coming, and just looking all around, and then just the stillness and the sound. I mean, it
Yep.
is really neat. Oh, what a wonderful birding memory. That's great. Oh, I just want to remind people that if you want to win one of David's books, and I'm going to ask him, perhaps, we do have some people who are in Europe who are watching. Maybe we could do one ebook. That would be something you could probably send. Is that a possibility? We'll think it for and um,
I'll finagle something. We'll figure something out.
okay, I didn't want them to feel left out. So just leave a comment, tell us something about road trips on the video, or the YouTube video, and then do it before Wednesday. And I will be picking someone in a couple people and then forwarding their mailing addresses and emails on to David. All right. Now back here, I love this photo. They're so cute.
Now you can see there's lots of snow there. We had traveled up to South Dakota we went to Carhenge.
Mhm.
Carhenge. It's
Oh, I think I have a photo of it. It's somewhere in this mixture,
Yeah,
maybe.
it's probably in there. Carhenge is in Alliance, Nebraska, and I had a book signing there and gave a
Oh,
lecture.
all right.
But we headed north to go to Wind Cave National
Beautiful
Park.
picture. I love your picture of Carhenge. It looks all mystical, like if the cars
Yeah,
could
and
be
that was
mystical.
just
I love
literally
that.
about 3.5 hours before the
Mm,
picture of the groundhogs up there.
they're
But
so cute.
I mean the prairie dogs, not the groundhogs.
Prairie dogs.
But so we got up there to Custer, South Dakota, and there's the
Oh yeah.
state park, Custer State Park,
Hmm.
and there was a whole, literally, giant field of all of these. And so I got out and took a number of pictures of them. They're always fun to get pictures of. They're
They are neat. Did you read? This was like maybe 10 years ago or so. Scientists have deciphered some of their language. And apparently when prairie dogs see us, they'll say something about their squeaks mean stuff like squeak. One squeak means human. Another squeak means they had a guy in a yellow shirt walk by and they deciphered like he would squeak, human, yellow shirt, coming this way. And they'd say whether or not it's a threat. I thought it was so cool that
they communicate. They're not really afraid of humans if you don't get too close.
They got their ways. Well, they're pretty darn cute. And then some more wild.
This was also in Custer State Park in South Dakota. They have a wildlife drive, which we took, and the whole intent was to see buffalo. And they told me there was a herd of about 40 or 50. Well, we drove and 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 didn't see any. Then all of a sudden we came over a hill, and there they all were standing in the road and out in the field. Wow. And so we literally had to drive in the midst of them.
And, you had to drive in the midst of them? Wow.
Yes.
It could be a bit intimidating because if they decide to charge your car or something, they're big.
They're used to the cars coming by as long as you don't go fast. And if you see them in the road, you stop and you wait until they cross. They've got the right of way.
Yeah. Oh, as it should be. That is so neat. Another gorgeous shot. I love your nature photography. This is really nice.
Well, thank you. This is not the Joshua Tree National Park. This is part of Joshua Tree Highway.
Oh.
I mentioned Nipton where we saw the alien poop.
Yeah.
Just a few miles from there, you head into Nevada, and then you get into more Joshua Tree forest. And it was a nice day, and the sky was kind of cool. So I got a number of pictures of the Joshua trees. I figured I'd send you one. Because they're a unique thing, and they only grow in the Mojave Desert. That's the only place in the world they grow.
Wow. Yeah, very pretty. And Bill has got prairie dogs and buffalo photos as well. Well, good. Yeah. And let's see. The Wayside Wade, Theodore Roosevelt National Park, a great rest area in North Dakota. The bison graze there.
Yep, I've seen bison there as well.
Cool. Yeah, well, I know. David takes gorgeous photos. You really should check him out online. I hope if I didn't have links to all of his sites and everything, I will add them. I'm out of practice not doing a show for
if you go to my Facebook page,
there you go. Go to his
personal Facebook page. They'll see plenty of pictures.
Yeah, go follow him on Facebook. You will be he will cheer you up. Sometimes people complain about Facebook as being like, oh, I'm not on there because it depresses me. Well, follow people like me and David. We post, try to post interesting, fun things.
I choose happy.
Exactly. Choose happy. That's one of his hashtags. These are so unique. Beautiful photo. Yeah, really nice, huh? Okay. So, behold, more glorious landscapes. Where are we now?
Yeah, this one's Grand Canyon. Of course, for 5 years, while I went to Northern Arizona University, I was also a tour guide for Gray Line Tours and took trips, tourists up to the Grand Canyon, but I also went to Monument Valley and to Sedona and a number of places. But my daughter, Marissa, had never been to the Grand Canyon, and my grandchildren had never been to the Grand Canyon. So we made a trip to the Grand Canyon, and we got there, planned it so that we would be there around sunset, and we were able to get the shadows for the sunset, and then eventually had to drive all the way to Winslow, Arizona in the dark. And that's where we stayed, was in Winslow.
I've been to the Grand Canyon once. I was about 10 years old, and I had gotten my first official pair of sunglasses. They didn't really fit me very well, which I didn't think about. And so the first thing I did was look over. I'm like, wow, look down there. And my sunglasses just go, tumbling off my face. And I was actually kind of mad at the Grand Canyon, as if it was the Grand Canyon's fault. But, it was a shocker. Well, hey, thanks for coming, Jeff. Nice to see you.
Hello, Jeff.
Remember, if you want a chance to win a book, just to leave I've been slacking on the banners here. I think I've got one here. Yes. Just write a comment about your favorite road trip memory or something along those lines. When you get back here, we've got more. Oh, Francisca says the Grand Canyon is on her bucket list.
That's a good thing to have on a bucket list.
Yeah. Meteor impact crater in Winslow. Have you been there?
Meteor Crater. It's called Meteor Crater. And yes,
Oh, okay.
I was there. It was outside of Flagstaff. I'd been there about 35 times.
Oh, is that all?
It's not as impressive being there on the side. It's more impressive. Hold on one second.
Oh, sure. You've been everywhere.
Decline call. Alexa, decline call.
You've been everywhere.
So,
and then there's this
the
one.
meteor crater is much better to see from the sky.
Oh, all right. Fly over it, folks. Now I don't even know what this is, actually. I didn't recognize this.
This is part of an old ship. This is up on near the Oregon Washington border on the coast.
Okay.
And this is called the Peter Iredale was the name of the ship. And it had crashed into the land. And anyway, this was a bucket list item for my daughter Marissa on the trip. She wanted to go there, and you can only see it during certain times because of the water level. Sure. But we got there at a good time. It was very cold and windy, but she was able to get that. It was really a cool sight. You can walk right up to it and stand in it. And
wow.
I didn't put pictures with the grandkids there because I wanted to have a nice picture of the ocean in the background.
An
old 1890s ship.
Skeleton. See, it should be a ballad of it. A ballad about it, you would think.
There's some stories about it. So.
Oh, well. Now, where are we here? This is a great shot.
Okay, so if you're in Custer State Park and you want to drive north to go see Mount Rushmore, you can take the regular conventional route, or you can drive over Iron Mountain.
Oh.
Now, I wanted to do Iron Mountain. However, when we got to Custer State Park that morning, Iron Mountain was still closed due to weather. The roads were still icy. However, while we were there, the rangers got a phone call and said they just opened for transportation. So we took that. It's US 16A. And there's 3 tunnels. There's 2 pigtails. A pigtail is where the road goes under itself.
Really?
So they build a bridge over itself. So you basically do a loop-de-loop on the road going this way and then over. And then they've got 3 tunnels, and from 2 of the tunnels, when you come out of the tunnel, you get a view of Mount Rushmore because you're way up high on a mountain. And so I wanted to give the feel of you're in the tunnel, you can see Mount Rushmore in the background.
That's neat. Yeah, I love that photo. Wait, Wayside Wade, he's asking about Alcatraz. Have you been there?
I've been to Alcatraz, and it's depressing.
Yeah. One of our guests actually spent the night there. You can believe it.
No thanks.
Not the nicest Airbnb, probably. All right. Well, here we are. Another mural. Well, not another mural.
I collect murals. My book plan for 2022 is to have a book on murals.
All right.
In the United States. And everywhere I go, I try to get pictures of murals. Buffalo, Wyoming has some beautiful murals. And we had to go out of the way to get to Buffalo on our way north to Bozeman, to Montana.
Where I was born, Bozeman, Montana.
And so we went through Bozeman, and I've got a lot of friends in Bozeman. Hello, Bozeman friends, if you're listening. But we stopped in Buffalo just so I could get pictures of the murals in Buffalo.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I know, because aren't there a bunch? You live in Lexington, Kentucky. Aren't there a lot of murals there as well?
Lexington has a bunch as well. They've got actually a couple great programs, and they've got 5 new muralists coming in October for this year's Prohibition murals. They do that every year, and so they have. And these are muralists that come from all over the world. They're world famous ones.
Oh, wow. That's
we'll be getting 5 new murals this year. And of course, I'll be there.
Oh, I love it. Now, here's something I need to add to my road trip bucket list. Happy Cemetery. Now, where is this?
I told you there were some cemetery ones, and I took that picture specifically, well, not just for you, but, I have a Facebook group. If you'd like to join, you can.
Yeah.
It's called Sumo Flam's Happyville.
I thought I was a member. Facebook. I'm not a member of that. Well, everybody can, yes.
Sumo. Anyway, it's called Sumo Flam's Happyville, and
Here,
I
I'll write it
also
down.
wanted to get a picture of that.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's only two places in the United States named Happy. One is in Kentucky and one's in Texas. But we went to Happy, Texas, and there's a lot of happy things in there. But there's also a happy cemetery. Texas,
I was like, why haven't I been there yet? I need to go to Happy Cemetery.
well, you need to go down to Hiko and go to Ferry Cemetery too.
Oh yeah. Well, it's actually Heiko, by the way. if you pronounce it the Texian way.
Heiko.
There, I just put it in there. Sumo Flam's Happyville on Facebook. There, a group you can join. I didn't put the link, but people can look for it. Oh, hey, hi, Antone. Nice to see you. Glad you could come by. All righty. So, and then on your way, as you made this big grand circuit, you happened to come through Texas.
We came through Texas, and there's somebody there that we recognize back there in the back of the boat, isn't there? We actually went. This is on Caddo Lake, and Caddo Lake is in the beautiful small little community of Uncertain, Texas. And Aaron Applebaum, our great pilot, I've visited with him 3 different times over the years.
So
and Aaron's a great host, and he gives a great tour of the deepest and oldest natural lake in Texas. But it actually borders on Arkansas and Louisiana. Mm-hmm. And we met Tui and Larry there so they could take the boat trip with us in the swamp. And we could look for swamp things, and we could look for Sasquatch and everything else. But anyway, if you're ever in Northeast Texas, go there and look up Aaron Applebaum or contact me. Aaron will give you the best boat tour he ever had.
It was great. I loved it. That was so fun. It's so photogenic. It's a really gorgeous trip. And yeah, thank you for including us on that. That was really fun. Now, I should tell everybody that, time flies. So I want to just tell, I don't know, I've got pictures of all your books. Do you want to tell people about your books a little bit as we?
Yeah, I'll just really, this was my first book.
Oh, and just like before you do that, I want to, hang on just a second. I want to remind people real quick that make sure if you want to win a book, leave a comment on the YouTube or Facebook, and by next Wednesday, today is the 2nd. So, I will choose somebody and then I'll announce who the winners were on next Thursday's show there. All right, now take it away.
This was my first book. All of my cover designs, the theme of the covers were designed by a well-known musician and artist. His name is Antsy McLean from Nashville. And he's done all the cover artwork for my books. And of course, I've got a series and nothing like branding. But the first book was in black and white, and it was just on strange named towns and unique named towns, including ones we've already mentioned, Uncertain.
Great book.
Mm-hmm. And Tightwad in Missouri, and Boring, Oregon, and Normal and Peculiar, and there's a whole bunch of weird places. And I've actually got enough content now for a second book of unique named towns.
You were good at finding
so
those.
Many more, including Devil's Elbow. And after my first book, I decided my second book would be in color. And I'd mentioned Roadside America earlier. Well, the picture, the photograph on here, if you look very carefully at the big, huge Paul Bunyan up there, somehow or another, Paul Bunyan has my face. You can thank Doug Kirby from Roadside America. He decided to do that. Now, that was one of my bucket list places, was to visit up in Minnesota. But this book, my second book, is all about quirky and offbeat roadside attractions, little weird places, all on the road. Just, biggest ball of twine and giant statues.
I love it. Yeah, it's such a great
all those. And so the book is chock full of those. I think I counted close to 90 something quirky and offbeat roadside attractions I included in that book.
And I love that you've been to all these places. Some travel books I read, they're just telling you about it. And I mean, I get that we can't all travel, but you've gone to these places. You've done the legwork. So I appreciate that.
Right. And I don't write. I don't write about any places I haven't been.
I
So
admire that.
if it's in my book, I have been there.
Yeah, yeah. And Wade's pointing out the towns of Flat Lick and Stinky Creek, apparently. You wonder if there's got to be some interesting stories behind those. Now we got another one.
This is my third book, and that is a picture of me, by the way, as a young kid with wanderlust back in New Mexico. And the whole concept of this book is more destination type places. So the proverbial tourist traps, places like Carhenge, where there's more than just one thing to see.
Oh, okay.
The second book was like there's only one thing to see. You go see the biggest ball of twine. You go see the big giant Paul Bunyan. But this book here is more. You go to a destination. There's a lot of things you can see. And then I have a special chapter on at the back of the book on Peter Toth, who I'd mentioned earlier, that made the Whispering Giants, the giant wooden Indian carvings that you can see, at least one in every state. And I wanted to include him in the book. And so I included that as kind of you got to go to all these different ones to see them all.
I see.
So that was the third book. And then the fourth one is the one that just came out a few weeks ago, 8154, which basically covers the entire road trip, but it has a good introductory chapter on how to plan a road trip.
It does. I like that.
With grandkids. And from my perspective on how to plan it. You can see that there's a theme. Branding is everything with these kinds of things. I am currently working on a fifth book, which I hope to have out at the end of November. It's not going to be as comprehensive. It's on the Sheltowee Trace. Many of you may have heard of the Appalachian Trail, which is a long hiking trail. Well, the Sheltowee Trace is a long hiking trail that goes from northern Tennessee all the way to northern Kentucky. It's 350 miles. And currently my wife and daughter, Marissa, who went on the trip with me, are hiking that on a month-by-month basis with a group with the Sheltowee Trace Association.
Oh, I've seen that on your Facebook page. Okay, I was thinking I've heard of this. That's where from you.
But the book will be called Driving the Sheltowee Trace, which you can't technically do. It's a hiking trail. But there's back roads and forest roads, and I'm a support driver for the Sheltowee Trace Association. And so I have been basically all these back road places. And so there's going to be a book comprehensive about that. And then my next book after that will be the book on murals for all over the place. And
I know you have lots.
And I have plans to do others like national parks. And I've got a number of books that I want to do. I've got a lot more books in me than I have time to do, but it's just like my road trip. I have a lot more places to visit than I have time to visit.
Well, I totally love all your books, and it's so exciting that this one's just full of wonderful color photos. And as you can see, he takes great photos. I had a question for you, and I will look now. If anybody has questions, we got to let David go here. So if you have more questions, go ahead and type them in. I have a question. Number one, I got to say, you really inspire me. Not so much a question. Thank you for that. And it's so cool that we met on Twitter like over 10 years ago, and we've become great friends.
Yes, absolutely.
It's pretty neat. Okay, but now the other thing is, I wanted to ask, okay, so is Marissa, does she want to write a book now? I know she takes wonderful photos. Has that appealed to her, or?
I don't know. She writes a lot of blog stuff, and but
I mean, it's not everybody's cup of tea. I mean,
she's just got so much going on in life. Matter of fact, she kind of, I don't want to say complained, she kind of commented that she wasn't really a co-author. She was more of a contributor. But I told her, I said, you wrote a lot of stuff and you took a lot of pictures, and I'm going to make you a co-author, whether you like it or not. So you can go to Amazon and find her name as an author on there, and she's as a co-author of this book. Now, obviously, it doesn't show up right here, but it shows up on the back of the book that she's a co-author. And, I was thrilled to be able to have her with me on the trip and get her perspective on things. And she has a different perspective, a different eye. And
and what about the kids? I wonder if, it'll be fun to see what sort of lasting, I can only imagine this is such an epic trip. I know they'll be talking about it their whole lives. It's really a great gift that you gave your family, and it's
Well,
neat that it's all in this book.
Mentioning the kids, the National Park Service has the Junior Ranger program.
Oh, yeah.
And so youth under 12 can go to a national park and they can take the Junior Ranger course, and then they can come out with a little badge.
Oh, wow.
And Landon, my grandson, that's in the book here, he has, I think, 14 or 15 now.
Wow. Oh, those sound neat. I wish
I know, actually, the Sideshow Museum in Uranus was closed the day I was there.
Aw.
So I couldn't visit that one. But I know all about it because I've talked to the owner. And that's on my next trip. I'm going to be making a trip out to Uranus sometime before the end of the year, hopefully. But as I mentioned, he's busy building a second Uranus in another location outside of Missouri. And so he's kind of busy. As far as plans to travel to other destinations, I would love to go to Europe. I've never been to Europe or Africa or Australia for that matter. I would love to, but cost and time and all those kinds of things are just maybe too much for me. I mean, if I was to go to Europe, I would fly into England and I'd rent a car and drive back roads all over Europe.
That would
literally, I would do that. But I still have a lot going on everywhere.
I can find them. Hit the link to you on Facebook in the chat is what I'll do.
Yeah, if you look up Sumo Flam on Facebook, Bill, you'll find me. But I do have a website. It's lessbeatenpaths.com. And but I also have Facebook, and I've got a Less Beaten Paths Facebook page as well that has a lot of my travel stuff. But my regular Facebook page is just under David Kravetz. But if you look up Sumo Flam, you'll find me.
Yeah, here he is here's his regular there. That should help. All right. Let me see if I missed anything else. There's a mouse, a giant mouse and the cheese. Where's the giant mouse and the cheese? Do you know what they're talking about?
The giant mouse and the cheese. He's probably talking about the one up in Wisconsin, and there's actually 5 or 6 of those.
Oh, okay. Sounds cute.
And and they're always fun. Wisconsin's a pretty cheesy place to visit.
And yeah, you're such a punster. I always like that too. Yeah. So okay, guys. Now, if you want to win a book, thanks. I'm glad the McIntyres like the show. I just want to remind people that they want to win a book, and whether they're watching live or the replay, just make sure you leave a comment, say something about road trips, whatever, and you'll be entered to win, as they say. And we'll announce the winner next Thursday, the winners, and we're gonna see how it goes. I love that you've got so many more books in the works, and of course, here's someone says their favorite was a trip to New Orleans. Okay, make sure you put that in the comments, the YouTube comments, not the chat comments, because I'll be able to go through.
I hope it wasn't last week.
Yeah, I have been worried. When you travel to so many places, I'm sure this has happened to you, it really puts those places on the map for you, so that when you find out that there was a tornado in, Podunk, Michigan, and it's this little town with a great ball of twine, it really does. I think the travel, it really impacts you. And I've been thinking about. Or
in Houma, Louisiana, which is right near Pierre Part, Louisiana, which is where the home of oh shoot, now I can't remember the name of the show. The one with the gator hunters.
The Swamp People.
Swamp People, yes. I actually went and had a good 30-minute long talk with the guy that was shoot him. But that's in Pierre Part, which is a little bit north of Houma, and I've been to Houma as well.
Duck Dynasty? Or is it different than Swamp People? I don't know. I'm not up on my swamp folk. Now, Wade wants to know your favorite soda. What is your favorite soda?
My favorite soda, shoot, I really don't drink a lot of soda when I'm on the trips, but I just get the soda du jour when I'm out there. Now, I like Route 66 root beer because it's travel and it's got a Route 66 logo on it and it's root beer. But, when I get to a small place like you go to Cuba, Missouri, for instance, there's a shop in Cuba, Missouri, and they actually have a giant wall of soda. All of them are in glass bottles, and they come from all over the United States. And so you can get all sorts of unique flavors and unique brands and things like that. And so every time I go to Cuba, Missouri, I go and try a new soda.
Oh, all right. Just want to remind everybody, I got a link to David's blog and his books in the show notes below. That's the description for the YouTube channel. You should be able to find them there. And I see that Francisca said she had fun. Yeah, it's always fun having David on.
Danke, danke.
Yeah, danke hartelijk. Some nice vicarious travel. Gotta love it. All right. Well, everybody, unless anybody has another question that I missed, let me scroll around. We're going to let David go so he can plan another road trip, hopefully work on another book, or maybe you will see him on, or me even on our personal Facebook pages where we try to post things that are going to cheer you up and make you have fun. And as he says, he likes to choose happy. And thank you. Is there anything you wanted to tell people before we end the show, David?
Well, I do want to tell them, if you get my books, I have another theme that I use with my books. And when I sign the books, I always sign them as enjoy the read and enjoy the ride. And sometimes the only way to enjoy the ride is to enjoy the read. You get to read the book and ride along with me, if you will, to see some of the things we have. And next time I go up to Wisconsin, I will try Sprecher root beer.
Ooh, nice.
Wisconsin's got some great places, but I always get cheese when I'm up there. And I like to go to Gronk's up in Superior. Gronk's is a great place up there in Superior, right near the Minnesota border.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone who came, whether you're watching live or you're watching the replay. Remember to leave a comment on the YouTube video or Facebook if it's lets you. I don't know. It says I'm streaming there today. And I will choose a winner next Wednesday and announce them on Thursday for books from his latest book, 8154 from David Kravetz. Thank you, everybody. And thanks we've had, new person here, Bill, BN Snapshot. And thanks to everybody who showed up again. And I'll see you again soon. All right.
Thank you much and enjoy the ride.
Bye, all.